Good afternoon, keepers of the cash. Gary B, the casual comic guy here, and joining me on a very special Savage Saturday, episode 172, my good buddy from Austria, Torsten. How you doing tonight, sir?
Doing well. Was looking forward to this. Since we were talking about this like a while now, especially since Volume 3 of Red Sonja, where most of the art as main artist was done by Mary Wilshire, is very underrated. It's also that when you want to read Volume 3 of Red Sonja, you still have to get the original comics because, as of my knowledge, this run was never collected in any trade paperback, and even by Dynamite, that has reprinted like a lot of the Severed Sword of Conan, Red Sonja stories, and of course the Marvel features and Volume 1 of Red Sonja. Uh, they never bothered to put the Wilshire run in there, and I think it's a mistake. Sometimes I just think is
It is because it's a great run,
Yeah, and I think they did. I mean, I know that they really don't care about like real Red Sonja.
right?
um, but yeah, it's really like an unsung Red Sonja run that if you don't collect Red Sonja and you don't just buy those 13 issues, it's not like anybody is giving you, except for us, is giving you like the information. It's like, hey,
Recognition.
it's out there. Like, get it. It's actually like it's really a very well written run. Of course, they have different writers, and I
Yep.
think
Yeah,
especially
you
the
had Tom
tone.
DeFalco, you
Yeah,
had Bill Matlow, you had Louise
yeah.
Simonson, who did a chunk of it.
And I think that especially the Tom DeFalco stories from issue 2 to 4 like are the best of the whole run.
And I just love it. And also the blue costume, which you and I are both fans of.
Exactly. I missed there's of course like Brett who did like the Red Sonja, hey, Unchained and Red Sonja Blue story. And this is like the only Dynamite comic that references the blue costume.
And again, this is a run. Like when I read it, I couldn't believe it was only 13 issues. It was so well done, so solidly put together. And you and I talked forever about, when we first started talking to you about how underrated
Yeah.
Mary Wilshire's contributions are to the sword and sorcery genre, especially in
Exactly.
association with this title.
Yeah, and she also did 2 stories in Seven Sort of Conan
Yep.
from Conan's youth, and of course also contributed to a cover for Conan the King. Where also Red Sonja is on it in the blue costume. She did the one with Kaluta, and also contributed in the Marvel handbook of the Hyborian Age of the
And the
Conan
Conan
universe.
source book.
Yeah, the Conan source book. Yeah, the Marvel handbook
Yep.
of the Conan universe. So she
She was
left
a
her
she was
mark on
a
the Hyborian Age, and
yeah,
I
so,
think
so
that's
good.
and I think that is something that hey, sleepy, hey, Damien. And I think that is something that should be put out there, especially since I don't know if she has still any link to comics. It's I haven't seen that she has like any online profile. So she's still alive, which is good. But but I really think that her name, that people have to put some respect on it.
It
Uh,
should be more synonymous with this genre.
yes, and especially like it was still like in the 80s, and so the quality of comics was still fantastic.
Oh,
And which is also very interesting is that when you can see that I think she started around 83 at Marvel. She did
1980. She
yeah,
started she started doing she did some crazy
hmm.
some stories for crazy.
Oh yeah, I think she started like with Conan, I think in 83. And it's so interesting that from 83 to 85, how her art progressed. when you, for example, when you look at her art from Savage Sword of Conan '89, where she did where the art for the Fleischer story Rite of Blood. It's a story, I think, about an early Conan before he became, I think, when he was 12 years old, before he became a teenager, and where he was like a scout. And the art is very interesting because it's very Archie like. And when you show me like her art from Barbie, that hey, I can totally see, that it looks like a Conan, like a young Conan, but like in a very Archie,
A little softer, yeah. Well,
very,
let's get to a couple of her a couple fun facts. So, for those of you who don't know, she created the original Blues Brothers logo. So there we go, right there. That's Mary Wilshire's work.
yeah, she was a commercial artist before she was
Yes, she was.
turned comics.
Because there she is with the this is the travel bureau for National Geographic World here on the left. Then, of course, what Torsten was just talking about, there's some of her Barbie work right there.
And it looks very Archie style.
Yeah, but very clean.
Yeah, very clean.
And then, of course, one of my favorite covers from her, one of my favorite Mary Jane covers was Amazing Spider-Man Annual 19, where she also co-created Alistair Smythe. And then, of course, one of my favorite miniseries, and I pick this miniseries up whenever I come across issues because I just love it. A little bit of a dark series, too. But this is, of course, another Tom DeFalco written series, and this is Firestar. Now, I have issues 1, 2, and 4 up here because Arthur Adams did the cover for issue 3. So these are the covers that she did, and just fantastic covers. And but what we're here to focus on today, though, is her work in the sword and sorcery genre. So there's a picture of Mary there. This is from Marvel Age, and did you want to show them what issue you pulled that out? Pulled that out of
Marvel Age 36, and she did an interview in it and had like the self-portrait of her with Red Sonja.
Right, and even in that short 13-issue series, you saw her art progress in that. Like the last issue 13, like you compare it to her first issue, just lots of progress.
Exactly. What is of course also very interesting, and that's why I always refer also to her work in Savage Sword of Conan. Because there she did the art and the inks, and of course in the Red Sonja issues she did like the breakdown art, and the inks were done by different people, and especially like in the first 4 issues, like in issue 2 to 4, you can see like all these details in the back. So I also really want to mention that, of course, the fantastic Filipino artists like Nestor Redondo and Rudy
Nebres, yep,
did a fantastic job, So, but of course, that doesn't mean that doesn't take any away from Mary Wilshire's art, because when you look at John Buscema's art, like also that was really like that was added to it by these fantastic Filipino artists, and you see that when you compare these issues with then from 8 to 13. Where she was inked by Marie Severin, also a fantastic artist that we're also going to talk about in the future, because she's also very underrated.
Another underrated one.
Mm-hmm. And, her color run, fantastic.
Well, and back then too, like they worked with what I call the Pinoy Power artists, right? Mm-hmm. You had like Ernie Chua, Alfredo Alcala, Nestor Redondo, you had Rudy Nebres. You had all these Filipino artists, which were just doing all this incredible unsung work for Marvel. When
you look at every detail in the background, and you see here, like in the issue 2, 3, and 4, when you look at the bricks in the wall, and they're so detailed, like, and then of course you compare it to when not the Philippine artists are out there, so the background's a little bit less detailed, but I think when you compare, exactly. Yeah, it really is like
Ernie
that.
Chan, I love his art, but he was one of the most distinctive inkers. If he inked something, you knew it. You could tell instantly.
Because they added so much to it.
Right. And they enhanced these artists. And that's not to take away from these artists, but they go hand in hand in the importance of what they did.
Mm-hmm. So it's, of course, very interesting that I think when you really see what she did in the Savage Sword of Conan, because this was only her work, and then of course compare her pencils with the inks by different inkers. I think from that you can really tell her style and how her style progressed, and it did progress a lot. So I think also, especially with the Red Sonja movie special, uh, that
Right.
there you can also see her pure art.
Now this is the Walt Simonson first issue. It's up there just to
She
show you what
she
run.
contributed a little bit to the cover. I think Larry I think the cover like Hamas worked on it, the Wilshire, and but of course the main work which also contributed to was Walt Simonson. So I don't know what she
And the whole reason we're showing
did.
this is so you
Yeah,
guys, if you're looking for what volume her work begins on in Red Sonja, it begins in issue 2 of volume 3. But this
yeah,
is issue 1, and then we can get to 2 and 3, and you can already see she's got a dynamic style. There's lots that she does action very well. I don't know how much you agree with that statement, Torsen.
very much.
I love her action.
Very dynamic artist. And you can also see here with issue number 2, I think that one she did by herself.
No,
And of
that's
course,
her Nestor Redondo.
I don't know, that's Redondo. And then issue number 3, she did with Ian Ekin and Brian Garvey.
Correct. Yeah, just yep,
Yeah.
and just
And I think you can already see that, that her breakdown, I think from issue number 2, you can still see on Heritage the original art that sold. So you can see what was added to it by Nestor Redondo. But yeah, it's I absolutely, especially the early covers, I love very much.
oh, same
And
here.
the way she draws Red Sonja is just fantastic. And of course, you also have different colorists of issues like I think Schaff. And what I especially love about the blue costume, because the contrast with the red hair
Yes,
works so well. And
and it's
this
just
early
more
issues, you have a
practical.
lot. Yeah, and you have, as you can see with the cover and also with the interior art, you have a lot of contrast between red and blue.
And now you and I both have all these issues, and I just want to give credit where it's due because I pulled most of these images off of the Marvel fandom page and my comic shop just because they had nice clean scans. So instead of doing this all show,
Yeah.
I just wanted to have a nice slide presentation. Those are where I got the images just to give the credit. And again, though, so you have different inkers on these 2 issues, but her art is so strong because some people's
Yes.
art, when people did different people ink them, their art looks different. It doesn't with Mary. It's still great art. Now the inkers enhance it, of course, but a great battle scenes. You got the sword in front. You have just, and this is what I miss, especially from this era, right? Sonja in battle. She's a warrior first. She's not a pinup model. And artists today just do too much with pinups, in my opinion.
And what she does also fantastic is she has a great aesthetic for clothes, which maybe also comes from her experience as a commercial artist, but especially in the final story, with the Ice Queen. That when you see then Red Sonja like in the snowy landscape, and she has like the fur coat.
Oh yeah,
this looks so aesthetically.
And
pleasing.
I'll open that issue up and we can look at it after.
Oh
for
yeah.
Sure. Because it's so like I wanted to do interior stuff, but it's like I'm looking through and I'm like, well, if I'm gonna start taking pictures of interior art and put it, I'm gonna be doing this for the whole day because it's just so much. I love this series, dude. When I read it, I just had that you finish it, you're like, oh, I wish there was more. But if it was such a good run, the supporting characters I like, they weren't dumbed down. They didn't write the writers that wrote Red Sonja here didn't write her cliche. They wrote her as a real person, which was awesome.
I did think that Tom DeFalco did a more solid job as a storyteller than Louis Simons. The Louis Simons' story arc was still fantastic, But I think that Tom DeFalco is like the standout writer of this run. And also you see how fantastic Mary Wilshire's art is, especially when you compare it with issues 5 to 7, which were not done by her, but by Pat Broderick. And
Yep. And
I'm not happy with his. He's not a bad artist, still a good artist, but I'm not happy with how he drew Red Sonja's face.
right. I was gonna say I love Mary Wilshire's face because Pat
Yes.
Project did um 5 and 6, and then Rudy Nebres did 7.
Yeah, and the covers from 5 and 6, they oddly stand out from the whole run because they don't have the same quality like, of course, Wilshire's
I know
cover
that I
and
love
Nebra's
I love
cover.
the undersea creature though. On I love the
The undersea creature is good, but Red Sonja's face looks
right.
odd.
And I think that's a strength too. And that might also come from being a commercial artist, right? Her
Yeah.
facial work is incredible.
Exactly, because when she draws something with that background, like everything should be like able to be published. You should hang as a poster, should be able, and you can see it also by the composition of her covers that they are poster quality. Uh, but like you also said, not as a pin up, still in a very dynamic
Right.
pose.
And Sonya still looks fantastic.
Exactly. So this is like a very rare skill to have, and uh, a very rare approach to, especially what artists have to covers nowadays.
And I would take this art over today's Red Sonja art any day. So you got and like this one too. Again, Ian Atkin and Brian Garvey on issue 4 helping her out with the inks. But then I bet a lot of people don't know this about issue 8 is the inker is Bill Sienkiewicz.
Yeah. The cover is all there with issue 8 is from the cover is like Bill Sienkiewicz is the inker. And you can totally see it like
Yes.
from his style, especially like when you see like the bridge in the background. After that giant, I think it looked like a giant baboon.
Well, it's like the way the monsters inked really gave it away for him too.
Yeah, the eyes especially.
Yeah.
When you look at some of his Moon Knight covers, these like sickle eyes.
And again, you got Red Sonja in 2 different action poses here. Both are fluid. Both are great. They're both warrior poses, but she's showing her versatility here and just what she can do.
It's so rare that an artist has the skill to draw like a cover where it feels like a paused, just when somebody holds time and somebody is frozen in action pose, but it looks, but it doesn't look like it's just stale. There's like this one cover from the Conan annual where he's like in Kitai and you have like this martial arts pose, but it's
awkward.
It looks so awkward. It looks like
he was pasted on there.
Yeah, it looks like it looks like the person is not posable. The person is like not dynamic. But Wilshire's art like so dynamic. Even with the demon from issue number 4, that like the fingers, you can almost feel them moving.
Yeah, there's a visceralness to it.
Exactly.
That and especially so on number 8 and on number 4 here. I mean, you got her face in 2 different ways, and both look spectacular.
Yeah.
I don't know, dude. It's just her stuff's great. And again, this blue outfit looks spectacular on her.
Exactly.
I like that.
Very underrated outfit. I love the chainmail bikini. Like, who doesn't? But that's the thing. When people nowadays, I see some people like on Instagram complaining, when Red Sonja has a different outfit in a comic, where I say, what, it's
right, like they would wear the same thing every day.
Exactly, and she's still carrying the chainmail bikini with her, as we find out, because like when she gives it away. But yeah, which I also really enjoy here, of course. With the cover, of course, she wears like the like this, almost like this fur onesie. But of course, in the comics, in the cold, she's really wearing like fur to keep it warm. So it also makes sense within the world.
Well, and I like too, like if you notice the covers too, her belt changes from like
Yeah,
cover to cover, where she's just like wearing what's available to her, right?
yeah.
So right
So
here we have now both these covers were inked by the same person, Art Nichols. So both are Mary Wilshire. And again, I love both these covers for different reasons. One, you see the strength of Sonya helping up her comrade right there in issue 9.
yeah,
And in issue
Ellen, Elaine.
yeah, and in issue and not only that, you get a sense of height with the birds added there.
Yeah,
So it's really cool because this is always described as a peril cover. It's a great peril cover. You can feel the tension of the moment in that cover.
yeah.
You know they're high. They're the birds. They're over a cliff. Red Sonja's having to hold all this guy's weight, help him up, and he was a great character too.
I know, and if it was, what you see also with his face, that he's holding on like to an inch of his life. He struggles.
Right.
And with Red Sonja, she's still, of course, it's also like an act of force, an act of like a feat of strength for her.
Yeah, she's a
But
force of nature.
she's in no way like in this. KO, like in this almost like
Yeah, she's not in
exhausted
distress.
position, like Elaine.
Well, she's got the look of determination on her face where he's in pain.
Yeah.
Like she's just like, yeah, I'm not giving up. We're getting this shit done. And then 10, I just love a good warrior's pose where it's, I'm here, you challenge me, we're gonna fight, I'm ready, let's go.
And also, like you can see so dynamic, with the hair in the wind. The only thing I can tell you one thing: if the Inca would have been Filipino, they wouldn't have used a cloud like for that empty space, but we would have gotten something very more complicated and and more detailed.
Yeah, I still love this cover though. She's just front and center.
I also laugh it naturally, yeah.
And I like also just her stance, like it just denotes power, right? It's just there. It's just, and you need to go to. I think
what was also fantastic there.
Sure.
And what for me always is also like that giveaway of like an artist that has basically physical knowledge is you can feel the weight of the sword.
Well, you could see it in her triceps and And what Mary could do is she makes Red Sonja appear strong but with the right body structure.
Yeah.
She's not drawn her like she's a dude with a Red Sonja wig on.
Yeah, there's so many fantastic like panels in the comic, especially when Red Sonja, like when she's sleeping or when she's just resting, where it's just so gorgeous. But then also like then you have the fight panels, and she's like the fury that she is. So she really does a fantastic job of having her still appear like very feminine, but also like not like merciless on the battlefield.
Well, and that's the thing, right? The artists that draw Red Sonja best, they can depict her different states because she's also a very sympathetic character to others. She's very empathetic. When it comes to children, she can be very soft. When it comes to people in peril that just genuinely need help, she can be very soft. But when it's time to fight, when it's time to defend, she becomes something else altogether.
What I also really enjoy, and I really actually think that maybe in issue 2 they killed her off way too soon, is the female general, Fema, who first takes her in, but then you can see like how how basically their relationship changes until, of course, they have like the fight to the death. So I think that's also very interesting, and this also was also fantastic with Mary Wilshire is with a lot of artists, even some of the greats at Marvel, like Byrne, is that all the females look the same,
Right.
while like Wilshire really you can really they're like the females are very differently drawn,
Oh
and
yeah. I mean, even in this series and the other work she does, where like with Firestar or Power Girl or the New Mutants or any of that other stuff, her characters do look different. Whereas you get some of the artists today, in even some of them back then, right? Because even the great John Buscema, a lot of his women
yeah.
had the same face.
Yeah,
They all had
and
the
the
Sophia.
and the in the
Yeah, they all
same in
had
the
the
same
Sophia
in
Loren
the
face.
same booty
Yep. But
which I'm not faulting him for.
So let's get to 10. Two more great covers here. We have issue 11 and issue 12. Just really, really great covers. Again, both dynamic. And if you're looking for, it's her and Tony Salmon's on this.
What is a little what is a little what is a little interesting with these covers is probably because Marvel already knew, this issue, like that this one is going to end with 13. Like I love her, like her art, but you can really see they cheapened a little bit out with the inking.
Yeah, they went with less detail.
Yeah, but which on the other hand, of course, highlights the breakdowns from Mary Wilshire even more, which of course is very stunning. It's just like when I see it, I really just wish they would have had a little bit more details in the background to really give it like the shine it needs, like with issue number 2
Yeah,
or
just it's
3.
missing a little bit of polish.
Yeah.
But
However,
again,
what I also really love here, see with Red Sonja, like the dynamic pose, and you can see like her muscles, like you cannot see them in detail, but you can totally see like the human anatomy, like it's correctly drawn,
and again the fierceness in the face. I love the motion, the motion drawn on the sword on the first one there.
Yeah.
Like you, the background
and the little chip in the sword, so it's like it's a sword that has been used. It's a lived-in world. Like in the Hyperborean age, you barely find like a weapon in mint condition.
Right. Right. Yeah, you're not picking up a polished weapon that's never seen battle. Yeah. And well, I always like those panels too, like especially in Savage Sword when they would have Sonja or Conan working on work, or even in later issues of Conan the Barbarian, when Red Sonja was in those, when they would have them working on their swords during their break time, and you'd see them sharpening the rocks or whatever.
Because you need to sharpen and oil the swords when you want to use them longer.
And again, and then issue 13, issue 12 here, I just think it shows the fitness and power of Sonja, because this dude's off his feet. And she's just full attack mode.
Yeah, she's the immovable object.
And again, I agree with you. This would have benefited from like something in the background, like some castle structures, some building structures, even some mountain work.
Something like more detailed mountain, or like or just like or really like a nice ice cave or something. Since they were like since this was like very it's just displayed like in the ice in winter, or maybe, and this is probably where Marvel cheapened a little bit out. It's since one of the main antagonists, the boss monster in those issues, was like this giant harpy.
Right, and not on any cover.
Actually, not on any cover.
And I like here too, like like her leg structure here. Just with a couple simple lines, you see the strength in her legs holding this dude up.
Exactly.
You see that, the fitness there, which
it's is
subtle.
like, of course, it's very subtle because you don't see any separations in the thighs or something. but you can really see like the outline of this is an athletic body that that every day is pushed to the maximum in the Hyperborean age.
Again, and then we're gonna get to issue 13, which I love the close up, the focus of Sonya.
Yeah,
The hair is so good here, and it just I love the sword she has in this, but the lips, the eyes, the red hair, the flowing, and I love the close up cover.
Yeah, and also issue number 13. It really feels like that with especially like with 11 and 12. That also the interior art was a little bit, there was rushed because of a deadline. And with issue number 13, I think you can see that Wilshire put everything in the final issue. Like the way she portrays magic. I love the way she portrays sorcery and magic. It looks so out of the world.
Well, let's like the opening. So just when you open 13, just this opening
yes.
page, look how beautiful that is.
Exactly. With issue number 13, it really felt like she knew it was like her last Red Sonja issue, and she gave it her all. Yeah, I just love, it's so many artists lack the skill of portraying sorcery. So when sorcery is done right, when sorcery is done right.
I mean, look at that face of the villain.
Yeah, makes me also really, wish that she would have done some Doctor Strange work. She would have also excelled at that.
Oh, definitely. But just here we'll get to some more right here. These two pages are just
like. And especially if you compare this one with 11 and 12, it's day and night.
And just showcasing her panel storytelling abilities.
Yeah, it really feels like that she was like, fuck it, I'm gonna give it my all, even though like
just like Stan Lee with AF-15, right? Or just do what I want. And then here we go. There's so much great action.
Yes, this is such a worthy conclusion to a great run.
And again, as much as you and I are Red Sonja fans, it was almost like Marvel never really, although Marvel has the best Red Sonja stories, it's still like they didn't give the character enough respect.
Exactly, and in the interviews that she did this was like in 1986, so this was before she started, I think, New Mutants. And she actually said that she would love to return to Red Sonja, and maybe she would, but, well, spoiler alert, she didn't, sadly.
Right.
And in general, it's like a very, very interesting interview, so I recommend picking up Marvel Age just for that. You should have put on the single issue, not the collected super special of the movie version, because you're doing her dirty here, because her cover for the single issue looks way better, because the problem with the Marvel Super Special is this is inked by Coletta, and
Coletta inks.
And as we know, Coletta, like, he's not kind to, like, his eraser, he was like lazy as fuck. Hey, White Tiger. So the single issue looks way better from the version of the movie poster than the super special.
But then, even if you get inside, though, you still see some of the great work she did in here.
Yeah, I love the way she draws Queen Gadrin.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Queen Gadrin looks great.
Yeah.
And what's funny is, and we'll do a little side fact, is dude, I just blanked on her name. Like, and she just had her birthday too. Come on, the girl who plays Gadrin, the woman.
Sandra Bergman.
What's that?
Sandra Bergman.
Yeah. So Sandal Bergman was actually offered the role of Red Sonja, but she wanted to play the villain. How much
Mhm.
better of a movie would this have been with her as Red Sonja, though? Because the acting by Bridget Nielsen, and I love this
Yeah,
movie for all its badness, but it is a bad movie.
yeah.
And I
Originally, I think the role was also offered to the girl who played Hundra, but then they found out that she already did a sword and sorcery movie and didn't want to have her on it. But
don't
yes,
know. She would have been. She would have looked okay, but I don't know. If
Sandra Bergman would have been fantastic as Red
yeah.
Sonja. Even, but I already was a little, and of course, it's always nice to
Well, she was
see
already
her.
Valeria.
But it was already Valeria, and you know, yeah, Bridget Nielsen. Yeah, it's I can see the criticism. I have the criticism. I would have loved to see different Red Sonja, um, but I'm well, I'm happy for her, and she got plenty late during the.
Right.
She basically, yeah, you're like Arnold. I think only stayed 2 weeks because.
Well, yeah, and that was originally supposed to be Conan in the movie, but then they had to rename it because of all the contract disputes with him and Dino
Yeah,
De Laurentiis.
yeah, it yeah,
There was so much drama behind that whole production. You could talk about that for a couple
yeah,
hours.
yeah. I mean, I already did. I already did with Sean.
But but our highlight today was Mary Wilshire and the fantastic work she did on Red Sonja and for the sword and sorcery genre. Because not just here.
Yeah,
Now we didn't take pictures and post them of her Conan work and her because our focus today was to highlight this series, which is under everybody's radar.
yeah.
Nobody talks about this series. Nobody has read it or appreciates it, and it's really, really fucking good.
And you can get it like sometimes you can find offers where somebody sells like a comic shop sells like the whole run for not a lot of money. So this is something also you can pick up like on a cheaper issue. Number one sometimes goes just for a little bit more just because of the Walt Simonson cover. And that it's also like a very iconic one since Dynamite also like did a pin of it.
And when I had put this run together, I got the issue one for $5. I got the rest of the series for 50 cents to $1 an issue. Now I was just looking at them today, and it's $6 to $9 an issue.
Really?
Yeah, from the couple places I looked, you could probably get some better deals on eBay, which is weird to say. But when you go into other places, a lot of the websites I was looking at, $6 to $8.
Yeah, I was picking up like the whole bundle at the Vienna Comic Con like a few years ago.
Yeah, I got to pick up another issue 13. Mine's good, but it's got a couple ticks on it, and I want a cleaner copy.
Hey, well, war.
And especially this, I need a cleaner copy of this, but that's got a little
the single issues are bad anyway.
But
this Coletta inks, they offend me so much.
Yeah, it's funny because I was never the hugest Vince Coletta fan either.
Yeah, it's just like
just give you guys one last look here.
Like, he committed blasphemy in erasing some of the pencils of Kirby, and this is like he can't forgive that.
Now, I did want to put this out there with the new run going on of Conan over at Titan Comics. How great would it be to see a Mary Wilshire story in the new Savage Sword with Brissa?
Brissa.
I would love to see a Mary Wilshire Brissa backup story. I would love it.
And generally, I would love, if she wants to, of course. Like,
right.
I have like no idea if she, she's in the 70s now. Like, I don't know if she has like, I don't know if she has like any want to get back in comics, but in generally, I think that
I would even like to see a backup poster page of her doing Brissa.
I generally think that Savage Sword of Conan should also have like a column in there that honors like past creators, and when they of course bring back or already some older creators, which is very fantastic. But I
Right.
also would love to have like an artist spotlight that like we did today on really a lot of people that contributed to the Hyperborean age and are less known today. And you have plenty of those,
Oh,
especially in Savage Sort of Conan in the backup stories. Hey, Bobby. And but luckily, like you said, you want to do this like a monthly thing, so you have an artist spotlight once a month.
and I think, yep. And we're gonna let Torsten's gonna pick the artist every month, and we'll do a feature on that artist because look, if we're not keeping the sword and sorcery genre alive,
Yeah,
who is?
who that?
No. And
Actually,
there's a lot of people that
there's a
are
lot
doing
of
it.
YouTube channels right now.
There are, but we're gonna do our part too. Damn it!
Let's just say it's gonna probably take a little while until we do like a Michael Golden
Right?
spotlight.
Oh no!
Because I don't think anybody's as hit and miss for me.
Oh, exactly. It's just his Conan stuff is some of the roughest. But dude, that was amazing. I love talking this series with you. Like I said, we've mentioned it together a few times. It's one of our favorite runs of Red
Yeah.
Sonja.
And I wish that Sean would have been here, but he's like with his family.
Yes, he couldn't make it.
Yeah.
But it was just great to highlight an unsung hero in this genre, which is Mary Wilshire.
Absolutely. And
And if you guys
everybody who
haven't heard
watches
of her,
this, get the books, read them, and
get them while they're still affordable.
if Dynamite, anybody from Dynamite or from Red Sonja watches this, I know you hate me.
Like, get a collected edition together.
Yes, but release a paperback. It's you have the rights to it, so you don't need to pay any artists anymore for it. So you can get a quick buck and just make it. And of course, like a hardcover would be nice. And to have like a volume 2 next to the Adventures of Red Sonja, which collects already most of her stuff from volume 1, volume 2, the Savage Sword of Conan. Red Sonja titles stories, but don't treat like volume 3 or even the 2 issues of volume 2, which barely can be described as a volume, but you also don't have to treat those as a red-headed stepchild.
Yeah, and again, some great John Buscema cover on that. I love it. Oh, just
yeah. The only thing you can ignore the 91 the single issue, the one shot from the 90s.
Scavenger Hunt.
The Scavenger Hunt, like you can ignore that one.
I have that's an interesting costume choice in that one. Holy cow!
It's like
not great art.
The 90s had their moments.
Some of those 3-issue Conan series were pretty rough in that era too.
Oh yeah, like
some were good, but some of the art choices were bad.
There's like I think issue number 8, I think was it, from the Larry Hama Conan run, where I don't know, like where Conan doesn't look muscular, but it looks like he's covered in tumors.
It's not a tumor.
Not a tumor. There are some rough 90s covers. Or maybe re-release something that has not been re-released before. Luckily, I have one. Is the one by Crossplanes Publishing, which we also shall talk in the future.
That's about. A good. I like that one too. That's good
because the artist passed away, I think, 3 or 4 years ago, sadly.
And again, that book, if you're getting it, you're not getting it for less than $20. You're lucky if you can pay $20 only for it. Then you're doing well.
I just bought the Wolf's Head Robert E. Howard story for $20 from the Crossplanes one.
And then, of course, you can get the 2 3D Red Sonja ones from Blackthorn Publishing.
Is 2? I think just 1.
No, I'm sorry, 1. There's 2 Solomon Kane. No, there's 2 color. 2 color, 1 Solomon Kane and 1 Red Sonja.
I have the Red Sonja one still wrapped.
Yeah, I was actually able to get 2 copies of that, luckily. But Thorsten, it's been great talking Mary Wilshire with you. I'm glad we got to bring a bit more attention, hopefully, to this fantastic artist, which I think more people need to look into, especially if you enjoy the era that we're talking about. If you never experienced her Red Sonja run, it's something that you should be paying attention to. It's something you should collect now while it's cheap. Like I said, back when I got it, I was paying 50 cents to a buck an issue. Now it's up to $6 to $9, $10 an issue.
But it's a buyer's market again, luckily.
Right. But it's only 13 issues, so you can put it together. It's available. It's out there. And you have great writers on it, like Tom DeFalco, Bill Mantlo, and Louis Simonson. So you're getting quality work from quality creators who have been staples in the business, along with incredible art by Mary Wilshire, who we focused on here today.
And also great, like I said, great storytelling. You know,
Right.
especially I think the story, the plot from 2 to 4 is, thanks Damien, like that story is so underrated. But also really laugh about DeFalco's contribution is that his story was an overarching story over 4 issues, but every issue also had like a complete story by itself. And I think this is how comics should be done, and not written for the collected edition.
Right. And
yeah, Steve Lytle's Sony. Yeah. Sadly, he passed. It was, I would say, 3 to 4 years ago. But what is time? I think it was like didn't he die in the COVID years? Sadly,
I'm not sure. But what I do like though is that we're able to highlight an artist that's still with us today.
And hopefully for many, many more years.
Like I said, she's 71, so she's got plenty of time.
Yeah, exactly. There's no age anymore.
Right.
Like you're like a barely, you're still a pup.
Yeah, and I'm 54. I'm just an ugly dog. I'm the dog you don't want to pet. You extend your hand out, you go, maybe not. I'll skip petting that one.
Now you're underselling yourself.
But again, I was looking forward to this. Definitely not disappointed. So happy we could talk Mary Wilshire, because it shouldn't just be you and I that get to talk about her. She's such a fantastic artist, contributed so much to comics and to Sword and Sorcery, and she definitely deserves to be highlighted. And if just one person goes out and buys this run and reads it because of us, I think our mission's accomplished. Hopefully
Exactly.
a couple more will. But any closing thoughts, Torsten?
Just very happy that we were able to do this, and even happier that we're gonna make this a recurring thing. And I think we're gonna find like a lot of Sword and Sorcery artists that are underrated, and also maybe in the future, with writers.
Right. And I love talking about these artists that people forgot. I mean, you know me, one of my main focuses on my channel are these forgotten stories and forgotten artists that nobody talks about anymore.
Exactly, because of course everybody talks about John Buscema, Kirby, etc. Maybe not so much about Kirby's contribution to Sword and Sorcery, which is very little.
Right.
But he did do a cover in the
giant
size with of course,
and it's a good
Conan
cover.
Conan and Elric, of course.
Yeah. But thank you so much for joining me today. What have you got coming up? You got another show coming up with Sean this next Friday?
We still have, I think, one up before we go into the December break. Yeah. But we haven't decided, I think, on a movie yet. If we haven't forgot about it.
Have you guys done She yet?
We didn't. I did a She review on my own in the past. I think only the German written review is up there. But you talk about the one with Sandra Bergman, or?
Oh, nice.
Mm-hmm.
We got Bobby getting the run. Nice.
Thank you. Of course, there's a different versions of She.
Yes.
But you probably mean the Sandra Bergman one, which is like in the post-apocalyptic future. Yeah, I did a review of that one. I'm a big fan,
because there's 3 different film versions of it.
There's even more. Like it's a classic book by Haggard, and one could even say that Rider Haggard was one of the fathers of like adventure literature. So she is like, and she and King Solomon's Mine, with course, gave us like Quarterman, are basically the foundation of adventure, which of course
Right.
later
Which there'd
on
be no
led also
Indiana
like
Jones
to,
without that.
yeah, and of course, yeah, led to that and to pulp literature. So of course she has like this big statues, and the Hammer ones are really good, especially with Peter Cushing, and which I also just recently rewatched. They also did a sequel of it. But yeah, that's a whole different story. And there's also a Marvel adaptation of She.
Now, there is. I have it.
Yeah, and it's a fantastic one.
Yeah, I think I have it twice. I think I bought 2 copies of it.
I don't blame you.
Now, coming up for me, next week we have Council of Comics week. So on the 3rd, we have Ronaldo doing his 10-1-1. And then we also have on the 5th, I'm sorry, in December. We have Ronaldo, and then we have Sam on the 5th.
The 5th is
So,
Krampus Day in Austria.
yeah, so we got some fun stuff coming
keep
up.
yourself logged in, otherwise you're gonna get like you're gonna get a peddling.
But and Torsten, thank you so much for joining me today. And for those of you who are here live and who are watching on the rewind, thank you guys so much. And if you go check out this Mary Wilshire run, reach out, let us know if you liked it or not. Leave us a comment below what you thought of the run. Did you agree with us? Did you not agree with us? Let's have a respectful discussion. But that's it for today, guys. Thank you all so much for joining us. And until next time, you know how I like to end these things. Keep it casual.